She was the most annoying person, and it made me feel like Michael Crichton hated children. When he, like kids are annoying, but not this annoying. Maybe some, but oh my gosh, she was basically just a gremlin. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a book wrap-up for March. So I read 14 books this month, which honestly is a lot better than I thought I would do, because I was in a bit of a book slump this month after reading a couple of these books. So this month was not a great reading month. I only gave out, I think, one 5-star, and I thought there would be 3 or 4 5-stars in the stack because I had a couple of favorite books come out. So basically I was really just kind of disappointed with the books this month that I ended up picking. Anyway, so let's get started. First we're going to talk about Horror Hotel. It is about a group of YouTuber ghost hunters who want to go basically stay in a haunted hotel for Halloween weekend, and they get more than they're bargained for. It's fun, quick read. It definitely lacked a lot of substance, but it's only like 200 pages. So there's not much they could get through within 200 pages. So I would still recommend this to read in October. It's a fun, quick read. It'll knock out a couple of prompts if you're doing any type of reading prompts for the Halloween season. Not my favorite, was one of my highly anticipated, but you know what? It was still a fun read. So next, I'm just going to do them together. It is Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. Unfortunately, I did not really like these that much, which kind of stinks because they've been on my shelves for a while. And I was really excited because I was like, oh, it's going to feel like Pirates of the Caribbean. I think even the blurb is like, readers should rejoice because we now have a Lady Jack Sparrow on our hands. No, she was not like Jack Sparrow. That was not a good comparison. She is a very angry lady. I feel like she's more of like a Barbossa type or somebody else. So these are just fine. They were fine. I probably would have liked them a lot better when I had picked them up, but now I'm into, I feel like, a much different type of fantasy read. I like something that's a little better written, which is funny because this is by Trisha Levenseller. One of her other books for me was a 5-star read. I think it's The Shadows. Yeah, The Shadows Between Us. I actually really like that book. So now I was planning on rereading that. I probably won't reread it because it's been a while. So I'm worried I won't like it. So I'm just going to leave that one alone. That was a 5-star. We'll leave that one alone. But these were Daughter of the Pirate King was a 2.75 and Daughter of the Siren Queen was a solid 3. So the next book is A Clockwork Prince. I am slowly making my way through all of Cassandra Clare's book, but I definitely did read like out of her preferred order. So I have read all of the Mortal Instruments books. I read them before I knew there was a preferred order. So now I'm just getting to the Infernal Devices. And a lot of people say they prefer the Infernal Devices over the Mortal Instruments, but so far I much prefer the Mortal Instruments, which is, I feel like that's a hot take in the Cassandra Clare community, but there it is. I rated it a 4 because I really hate love triangles, and it's why I like the Mortal Instruments better. There is a main focus love triangle in this series. I know how it ends because I read the Mortal Instruments first, and I'm still not happy with it. I just don't like love triangles. I'm never gonna like them. I don't think they're fun. I think they suck for everyone involved, and it's pitting 2 friends against each other, which I really don't like. I docked a whole point. Otherwise, it was a 5-star. Great writing, great characters. I just really don't like love triangles, and I never will. So now I'm going to be talking about 2 books that I actually don't have physical copies of. One is by Elise Kova, and it is a third chance read for her. I've read 2 other books by her. One I liked and one I really hated. So I picked up A Trial of Sorcerers, hearing a lot of good stuff about it. So I was like, okay, we'll see. I actually really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4.5, and I actually am in the middle of reading the second book of the series. The other book I listened to on audiobook, but it is The Princess Trap by Talia Hibbert. Oh, I'm obsessed with the Chloe Brown series. So I was like, okay, let me look at some of her like backlist stuff while I wait for her new books to come out. I don't know what her new books are going to be, but I will pick them up. I hated The Princess Trap. I honestly should have DNF'd it. I gave it like a 1.5 star rating, which is so strange for one of her books, because all of her books, besides the second one, I really didn't like. I think it's Danny Brown's book. I gave the other two, though, 5 stars. So I had high expectations for this book, and I just really didn't like it. I didn't like how they talked about the sex in this book. I feel like their relationship went from 0 to 100, and I just didn't feel any type of connection between the two characters. So that's all I'm going to say about that book, because I honestly don't want to talk about it. So the next book that I read is a graphic novel, and it's book 2 of the series. It's a duology, and it's called Check Please. And I did not rate this one. So I think my issue with these books is I read Heartstopper first, and it was so romantic and beautiful, and I loved it, and the sole focus of the book was their relationship. So then I was like, okay, I really like these graphic novels. Consuming media in these graphic novels is really awesome, so I really want to go read more graphic novels, because I mean, the art is beautiful, the stories are beautiful, and I feel like they don't get enough credit. So I was like, okay, let me look up more like romance, cutesy graphic novels. And this series came up. It is definitely more focused on a group of people and their relationships, and then like the main relationship. And I would say about 90% of this book is more about the relationships with the other hockey teammates, and that's not what I wanted to read about. So I didn't rate this, because that's my fault for not understanding what both of these books were more. They're not Heartstopper. The story was just not for me. I wasn't looking for a friendship, fraternity brother, kind of house friends and story about growing up. I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for romantic angst. So it just wasn't what I wanted. All right, we are on to my 5-star read of the month. So Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. I love this book. This book was so good. I already talked about it a lot in my book haul, so I'm not really going to talk about it a lot here. But it was a 5-star for me. Very well done. Morally great characters. Monster time travel. Hate time travel normally. She did a great job. So highly recommend this to everybody. I cannot wait till the second book comes out. I can't wait to find out what happens with these characters. I love these characters. So 5-star. Easiest 5-star I've probably given in a long time. Okay, so the next book is 2 books within one. It is the Barnes & Noble special edition of Jurassic Park and the Lost World. I am not going to touch it. I made that mistake reading it. I should not have read this copy. So anyone who's looking to get the Barnes & Noble copy of this, because it is beautiful, should know the red transfers onto the white. I mean, it comes off if you take like a little, the material is resistant to like water. So if you just take like a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of water, just slightly wet a paper towel, and go around on the parts that have turned pink, it will mostly come off. But I had a heart attack when I was reading it, and all of a sudden I was like, why is there red on my hands? And why is there red all over the book? Maybe it's just because I have clammy hands, but that was shocking. So you can't really see it from here, thank God. And I cleaned it up as best as I could. But see, but you can see, so you can't really see that much. There's a tiny bit of transfer that you can see. So yeah, I'm not gonna touch this more than I have to. So I finally got around to reading this. I have had this on my shelf for a while, and I've already read a book that Michael Crichton has written before, Sphere. Fantastic. I think I gave it 5 stars. The movies are more horror. I would classify the books as more action-adventure, sci-fi. But I know this is a heated topic in the book world and the movie world about what genre this book actually is. But that is my take on it. I think it's more action-adventure, sci-fi. So first we're going to talk about Jurassic Park, the book. it pretty much is exactly the same as the movie. They did a really good job adapting the movie to this book. There's a couple of differences in some deaths, and a couple of characters a lot different. So the kids are different. They switch the ages. So in the book, the girl is younger and the most insufferable character I've ever read in my life, and the boy is older and actually really helpful. I get it a 3.75. Sci-fi is not my favorite genre, but I still really enjoyed this. Some of the characters were a little flat, like Elliot Sadler and Grant, who were much more dynamic in the movies. They did come off a little more flat in this. And I docked a whole point for how annoying Lex was as a character. She was the most annoying person, and it made me feel like Michael Crichton hated children. When he, like kids are annoying, but not this annoying. Maybe some, but oh my gosh, she was basically just a gremlin. She was so annoying. She almost made me DNF the book multiple times because it was wow. She was so unlikable. But overall, it was really fun. It was a really, really fun book. I would say read it. Now, The Lost World. After I talk about it in this video, I'm going to pretend that the book does not exist. I hated this book. I really didn't like it, and it put me in a full book slump. For some reason I rated it a 3. I think I rated it a 3 because it's better than the movie. It just shouldn't exist in my opinion. Jurassic Park was the perfect standalone book. You did not need to resurrect a character who supposedly died in the first one and make them the main character of the second one. So that's all I gotta say. Okay, so we're down just to my book of the month books left that I read. I try to read all my book of the month books that I get in that month. I was almost successful. I am currently reading The Paris Apartment. It is April 1st, and I'm probably gonna finish it today. So the first one I'm gonna talk about is Dating Dr. Dill. And this actually got a 5-star from me because I tend to rank my romance books a lot nicer than my fantasy books because fantasy is my favorite genre, and I'm a lot harsher on it than romance. Romance, if I have a good time, if I like the two main characters, it's probably gonna get a 4 or 5 star. This one I really liked because I really liked the main characters. They were so funny. I was laughing out loud reading this book, which is a big deal. My husband even asked me a few times, like, what are you reading? Like, what? Are you seriously laughing this loud at a book? I thought it was funny. So if you want a cute, quick, I read this in a day, very quick, even though it's pretty big for a book of the month romance, I would definitely pick up Dating Dr. Dill. It's funny. The main characters are great. You'll have a good time. So the next book of the month book that I read was The Verifiers. So The Verifiers is about a woman who works for a company that verifies people on dating websites. So basically people come in, say, hey, this is the person I'm talking to right now. Can you verify that what they've told me is really true? So they're basically a dating detective agency, which sounds really cute. It was not as cute as it could have been. This should have been a cute, cozy mystery, but instead it was following around a woman who made progressively poor choices, and she was honestly incredibly unlikable. Her whole family was unlikable. I get that it's really difficult when your parents have such high expectations for you, but oh my gosh, her mom was just absolutely horrible. But it wasn't just the mom who was horrible. The siblings were also horrible. They also held expectations for each other. The sister was awful. She was a horrible person. She was such a brat and so selfish. And I feel like if you're going to have, even though it's probably not realistic, I feel like if you're going to have a mom that's that rough, I want to see a strong sibling connection to make up for that. I know that's not realistic, but I'm not reading books to be realistic. So I just wanted, God, her family was, and there was a lot. Her family is in it a lot. So the sections with her family were really hard to read. And I think if you want to market it basically as a cozy mystery, you need to lighten that up a little bit. This type of family dynamic would have worked really well in like a more contemporary fiction thing. Like if you were focused on the family and explored the family a lot, it would have been perfect. It would have worked very well. In a thriller, it probably would have even worked pretty well. But in a cozy mystery, where it's supposed to be kind of lighthearted, a family this brutal doesn't work super well. So I think it would have been really good if she had toned down the family. It's also supposed to be a standalone, I think, and nothing wraps up. So that's a warning. If you don't like loose ends, don't read this. I'm hoping it gets a second book. I will read the second book if it comes out, and I recommend this if a second book comes out. If it doesn't, I can't recommend it because I hate loose ends. I gave this book a 3 because I did enjoy it. It didn't take me too long to read it. There were some things I definitely would have changed. If there's a second book, I feel like if there's not a second book, it'll probably go lower. I probably will change it to a 2.5. If there's a second book, I'll keep it at a 3. So that's kind of where I am with this. So the next book is the Cartographers, and I did not give this one a rating. I struggled with this book immensely. Oh man, I read this after The Lost World. So The Lost World, not liking that book, which doesn't exist, and not liking this one just compounded a reading slump of all reading slumps, and I'm still kind of dealing with it. I did not read the Cartographers because I don't think the author knew what to do with this book. It's all over the place. There are a bunch of random characters. There's way too many mysteries. It doesn't actually turn fantasy until halfway through the book. So I got halfway through the book, forgot it was fantasy. The magic was introduced, because it's very light fantasy, and was very confused because I was like, this is contemporary, this is fiction. This isn't supposed to be fantasy. And then I had to go back and look at the genre on Book of the Month, and it was fantasy. I mean, that's how not fantasy I thought the book was. I liked the ending. Didn't like the other 90% of it. It was very boring. I didn't like a lot of the characters, and it was a big no for me. And the last book that I have to show you guys that I read is the Book of Cold Cases. This book started my book slump. Went from this book into The Lost World, into the Cartographers, and it was a mess. This book was supposed to be a 5-star read. This was supposed to be my favorite book of probably the year, because Broken Girls was my favorite book. I really liked The Sundown Motel, and this book was this was a 3. My disappointment puts it at a 1, but objectively, the book is a 3. She could have done a lot more. She's really good at writing. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. She's really good at writing characters and making you care about the characters, and I could not find a care in my body for any of these characters except for the PI. I liked the side character of the PI. He was cool. But other than that, I didn't care about the mystery. I didn't care what was going on with the main character. I didn't care about the supposed killer. I just didn't care. And that was pretty much my extent of this book. So those were all the books that I read in March. Hopefully April is better. This is a rough reading month. I got through a lot, but I would say it was quantity over quality in this case. So anyway, like, subscribe, comment down below. I would love to hear your opinion on some of these books. Hopefully, and that includes differing opinions. I love hearing people who like the Book of Cold Cases. If you liked it, tell me why you liked it. Change my mind. I would love my mind to be changed on the books that I did not like. So yeah, those are the books I read in March. So I will see you hopefully in my TBR that I probably won't follow. I'll see you guys in the next one.